Hey everybody, here's a quick look at the art journal page we'll be making today. I'm working in a large dilutions art journal and I'm measuring the page so that I can divide it into perfect 4 sections or quarters. And I'm just going to make these lines with my ruler and a regular lead pencil. I'm using this same butterfly stamp to stamp it in all 4 sections, and I'm stamping it with archival black ink. It's a permanent ink, so it won't move or smudge if I add any water to it. I'm creating artwork today that's inspired by the work of Andy Warhol. If you're not familiar with him, he was an artist in the 60s during the pop art movement, and his work is really graphic and really colorful, which I thought would be fun to replicate in my art journal. So as you can see, I stamped this butterfly a 5th time onto a repositionable 3M Post-it tape, and I'm going to use that tape as a mask. So after I've stamped it, I cut it out with my Fiskar micro snips, and I'm placing that mask down on top of my butterfly. When I place down the mask, it's going to protect whatever is underneath the mask. So in this case, the butterfly will remain white as I add color on top of it through paints and inks. And because I've used the repositionable tape and stamped it, it helps me to line up the butterfly perfectly with the stamp underneath. I'm also using a low-tack painter's tape to block off the upper left section so that I don't have paint going outside of it. I want the lines to be perfectly straight and clean. You could also use washi tape or masking tape for this. Now I'm using a color of Dilutions paint on a mini blending tool to apply it all over the upper left section, and then using the same blending tool with the same paint, I'm going through a stencil so that I have a very interesting tone-on-tone effect in the upper left corner with red. And then I can remove my painter's tape and the mask that I placed down earlier. And as you can see, it protected the butterfly, and the butterfly has remained white. I'm going to keep using this same mask that I made for the butterfly over and over. So I'm just lifting it up carefully and I'm placing it down on another section and another butterfly on my page. And now I'm going to do those exact same steps to color in all 4 sections. The names of these products and everything that I'm using in this video are listed in the description below, so check that out for more information. So as I remove the final mask, you can see we're right here with all the 4 sections colored in, and the painter's tape has allowed us to make perfectly clean lines to divide all 4 colors. Now that the paint is dried, I can begin using my Posca paint pen to make some stitching marks along the 4 sections and also around my butterfly mask area. And this is just to give it a little more interest, and I really enjoy doodling. Next, I'm going to draw some lines hanging down from the wings of the butterfly, sort of like garland or streamers. And I'm going to just draw little tiny icons on these so it looks like they're dangling and they're hanging. And the images that I'm using are hearts, stars, circles, and squares. And I'm doing this in no particular order and no pattern or theme. I'm just doing it as wherever I feel it looks interesting and however many I want to do. Next, I'm going to cut out a quote from the Dina Weekly Media typed ledgered paper. And I'm using my tonic scissors to cut this out. This is the 9-inch blade. I like to use this large scissors when I'm cutting out strips of paper or quotes because the blade is so long, I'm able to get the entire quote in one scissor cut, and that makes sure that it remains straight versus when you have a littler scissors, you have to make multiple cuts and it's easy to get off or have lines created or like little paper strips from the main quote. So that's just a trick that I like to do. I'm gluing all this down with my Dilutions glue stick. This is my preferred glue stick. It's actually the only glue stick I own because it is a really high quality glue stick. It has a permanent bond. It doesn't flake up or lift after just a little bit as other glue sticks do. So this is what I like to use when I'm using a glue stick. Like I said, it's the only one I own. You could, of course, use another adhesive to glue this down, a wet adhesive. I just grabbed the glue stick because it's convenient and fast, and it was nearby. And then I'm going to once again grab my Posca paint pen and make the same stitch marks around all of the quote pieces just to integrate them and make them kind of seem more cohesive and part of the page. I like to repeat things when I'm doing my art so that it seems like it makes sense overall and brings all the elements together. And after I was looking at this, I decided the page seemed a little plain, so I'm also adding some of those hanging garlands along the top section of each of the 4 colors. To finish out my page, I am watering down some TCW stencil butter, and I'm using a palette knife to flick this onto the page to create drips and drops of pearlescent white. And with that, my page is complete. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you were inspired and got ideas to use in your own art journal pages. I'd love to see what you're making, so take a picture and post it using hashtag ArtJournalJunction. If you enjoyed the video today, please give us a thumbs up and also hit the subscribe button so YouTube knows you want to see more mixed media and art journaling videos in the future.